Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway. Our news and notes for this week. Going to be a short one this week, as we have a lot of the same news we've had. A couple of updates this week, and of course, we're talking about the big show that is coming up this coming Saturday, March 5th, at the DC Armory, and that's the main event with Tony the Tiger Thompson taking on Luis Ortiz, real King Kong out of Cuba, who now fights out of Miami, Florida. And I guess the big news on that one is that the bout, which was originally thought to be for the WBA Interim Heavyweight Championship, well, the World Boxing Association said, nah, that's not going to happen. The bout is no longer for the Interim WBA Heavyweight title, so it's just going to be a 12-round bout. And the WBA put out a press release this week saying that the bout would not be for a championship for a number of reasons. And one of them is that Thompson, who is a tough competitor, these are the words of the World Boxing Association, he's 44 years old. He's lost 3 of his last 5 fights. And the second reason is that he's not ranked among the WBA's top 15 heavyweights, which is true. You know, both of these are true now. And the third reason is that Golden Boy had been ordered to negotiate a fight between Luis Ortiz and Alexander Ustinov for the WBA title. So that had happened a while back, and they were going to have a tournament with the sole purpose of establishing a single champion in the heavyweight division. We'll see if that happens. We know the WBA by now. So the winner of the tournament, as I said, the winner of the fight between Ortiz and Ustinov was scheduled to fight the winner between Tyson Fury, the WBA Super World Heavyweight Champion, and former champion Vladimir Klitschko, who's ranked number 3 by the WBA. Now, if Thompson beats Ortiz on Saturday, then Ortiz out of the tournament, Thompson is in the tournament, and he would face Ustinov. So we'll see what happens. So I guess there is something still on the line, especially for Tony Thompson, but the championship is not one of them. So the WBA is referring to this bout as a stay busy bout for Ortiz. So obviously they don't think that Tony Thompson will win this bout. And I think most people don't, for a lot of reasons. First of all, Ortiz is a heck of a puncher. And the fact that Thompson steps into the ring with this guy is something that a lot of folks didn't want to do. That's how Tony Thompson got this bout in the first place. But there are still two world title bouts on the line, because a lot of people are going to be looking at that Jesse Vargas-Saddam Ali bout for the vacant WBO welterweight championship. And by the way, the referee for that bout will be our very own Kenny Chevalier. So this will be his second title bout in about 4 months. He just had one in late December in Japan. And according to Kenny, he got a lot of good response from that event, which led to his appointment of the title bout in Washington on Saturday. So we'll be chronicling the undercard and do a live podcast from the DC Armory concerning the undercard of that bout, which quite frankly has not been put together yet, which is kind of weird, you know. So, because one of the bouts on that undercard will be the WBC interim featherweight title between Oscar Escandón and Robinson Castellanos. So we'll give you some updates on that. Won't be doing a blow-by-blow broadcast, but we will be doing some updates from the DC Armory during the non-televised portion of that card. So the doors open on that card around 4:30 in the afternoon. So it'll be a pretty long night, and it'll be a 10 o'clock TV start on HBO, Boxing After Dark, with the Vargas Ali fight, Jesse Vargas-Saddam Ali, followed by the main event, Tony Thompson and Luis Ortiz. So that'll be Saturday, March 5th at the DC Armory. And of course, on the other side of that situation, on Showtime, we have 2 Beltway boxers on Showtime, as Antoine Douglas has a new opponent, Kurtzda. I think we talked about that a couple weeks ago, and he'll be on the triple header on Showtime. And it'll be a special edition of Showtime Boxing. That's what they're calling it. And also, Fernando Guerrero will take on Tony Harrison. That should be a very interesting bout there. So we'll see what happens. Tony Harrison's last bout was against Cecil McCullough, and Harrison won a 10-round unanimous decision on that one. So that'll be on Saturday, March 5th on Showtime. So we'll be doing double duty, and we'll give you some updates on that one as well. So it'll be a busy night Saturday, March 5th. Hope you can join us at DC Army. Pack that place. It's the first of 2 cards at the DC Armory. The other one, of course, is on Friday, April the 1st, when Adrian Bronner takes on Ashley Theophane for the WBA Super Lightweight Championship. Just added to that card. Of course, Patrick Harris, we knew was on that card on the April 1st card. But Damon Nicholson has also been added to that card because he had a first-round knockout this past Saturday at the Washington Convention Center. And by the way, getting back to the March 5th card of DC Army, Kevin Rivers Jr., Demetrius Bowd, Lamont Roach Jr., all on that card as well. So, again, our Beltway boxers very, very busy in the month of March going into April. So we'll see what happens there. Speaking of someone very busy, and he's so busy sometimes we don't even know when he's taking bouts until we almost find out, until almost after the bouts are taking place. And in this case, this guy, I wonder if we're going to start calling this man, along with Tony Thompson, ageless wonders, because they just keep doing great things. They don't get to the highest echelon of this sport, but they still do some great things. And DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley, the former WBO junior welterweight champion from D.C., he's been traveling all over the world over the last 5 or 6 years. And he traveled to Aarhus, Denmark. And he knocked out a previously undefeated foe by the name of Osama Hadifi. He's from Copenhagen, Denmark. And he scored a 6-round TKO this past week in Denmark. He's fighting at a lightweight. Now, that's a credit to him right there. DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley won his world title in 2000 as a junior welterweight. And now at 41 years old, he's actually fighting at a lower weight than he was when he was a world champion. He's at lightweight, 135 pounds. And Corley won this bout. I won't say going away. He did knock him out. He dropped him in the second round, dropped Hadifi in the second round. And he almost got knocked out himself in the third round. But then he was able to take control. And he did something no boxer had done before. Hadifi had never gone past the fourth round in his career. So this is a situation where he basically took Hadifi in deep water and, for lack of a better term, drowned him. That's what they say in the boxing business. So he did it. And it's a great win for Chop Chop. And he's still going. He looks great. I mean, if you ever seen the guy, he's always in shape. And he always just looks his best. And it's just fantastic to see. So Corley's now 43, 26-1, 26 KOs. Hadifi now 11-1, 11 KOs. And will Corley get back to the championship level? More than likely not. But the fact he's able to still be viable in this business, still make some good money, and get a win every now and again. And that's just an incredible feat that he has done. He is just a fantastic boxer, fantastic person, and a legend in this area, DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley. So congratulations to him as well. A couple of schedule changes. Don't forget, by the way, the Golden Gloves, Washington Golden Gloves, continuing this week at the Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Center. Now, next Saturday, March 12th, we'll start the semifinals of the Washington Golden Gloves. That'll be at the Sugar Ray Leonard Community Center, 7700 Barlow Road in Baltimore, Maryland. And so that will be all throughout the week. They really get into the opens right now. The juniors will be wrapping up relatively shortly because they've got a lot of championships that have already been decided. A number of boxers went unopposed going into this week. You can read the whole list on the blog, Boxing Along the Beltway. But there'll be some junior championships throughout the night on Saturday if you plan to go there. And, of course, the Open is really getting going right now, and the Novice as well. So next week, the 12th and the 19th, March 19th, will both be the time for the semifinals of the Washington Golden Gloves. And then on April the 2nd, the Washington Golden Gloves Championships, followed by the Regionals, April 30th. That's a Saturday as well. And they will both be at Rosecroft Raceway. We'll provide live coverage of both those events. On the pro side, schedule-wise, Mike Yes Indeed Reed, he was scheduled to fight on the card on February 27th, the Terrence Crawford, Hank Lundy bout. And his opponent did not make weight. Well, he's been added now to the Friday, March 18th card. That'll be at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No word on his opponent yet, but he will be on that card. So that's an update on Mike, yes, indeed, Reed. And so we get some things going on there. March 26th, we have a card at the UDC Sports Complex. Still don't know much about that card yet. April 1st, of course, Brawner Theophany, DC Army. April the 9th, that's a Saturday. Jetta Promotions back in action at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia. We'll be broadcasting live from that card. And number of good people on that card: Jerome Quigley, Jerome Quigley, Devontae Speed Rawls on that card, and also the Washington area return of Tony Jetta's first signed boxer for Jetta Promotions, Steve Weimer. He's out of York, Pennsylvania, and Weimer actually fought here in the area a couple of times. Fought at Michael's 8th Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland. Looked very good. Took about 2 or 3 years off to get his college degree. He went to York College, got a college degree. Now he's back in the mix, and Tony Jetta's promotion will be managing a boxer for the very first time. Now, Jetta's always said, and I believe him on this, no question about it, that he knows the way to move a boxer. And if he does it in the manner that he's moved himself, well, Steve Weimer's going to be in very, very good shape, because Jetta has made some great contacts, and I think those will benefit Steve Weimer. And we'll see. He'll be on that card, of course. And also, Jetta Promotions has gotten a license now in the state of Pennsylvania. Be right in Weimer's backyard, so they'll be able to see him up there. And I think he's got a card scheduled in Pennsylvania on May 14th. So we look forward to great success from Jetta Promotions, both on the promotional and now on the managerial side. And I think a lot of young boxers in this area, especially the ones that he's been working with for some time on his cards, may benefit from Tony Jetta's experience now in the promotion and the managerial realm. So we'll see what happens there. Finally today, just received word before we went on the air today that a man that I looked up to when I first started covering boxing way back in the late 80s, early 90s, this man was the man as far as covering boxing, especially in Baltimore. And he covered not only Baltimore and Maryland legends, but he also covered the world of boxing. He wrote for Ring Magazine, and this is a guy that when I first started, I desperately leaned on to get my feet wet in this business, and just found out that he passed away this past Monday in the Baltimore area. His name, Alan Goldstein. Now, everybody called him Goldie. I never called him Goldie. I didn't even know he was known as Goldie, but he was always Mr. Goldstein for me. And he wrote for the Baltimore Sun. Covered basketball, but his big love was pro boxing. He wrote a number of books. He wrote a couple of biographies about Sugar Ray Leonard, one about Sugar Ray Leonard, one about Muhammad Ali, and contributed to a biography on Oscar De La Hoya. And he wrote for Ring Magazine, as I said. And one of the things I used years ago, when I first started writing boxing on the Beltway, one of the things that one of the articles I came across was a top 10 of Baltimore boxing, the history of Baltimore boxing. And of course, Vincent Petway's a part of that list. That was the closest modern era boxer. Harry Jeffra, why he's not in the Hall of Fame, we don't know, but he was on that list, and many others in the Baltimore area. And it inspired me to do a list at that time of the top 10 boxers of the past 20 years for me. I had been in business 20 years at that time. So he was a guy that I really admired, loved talking to. He was a real nice guy. He really was. And always treated me with respect. We got to know each other and talk about the business and talk about, the area. I learned a lot about, especially the Baltimore part of town, part of the Beltway, from Alan Goldstein. And to be able to follow in his footsteps and just expand the territory a little bit to cover D.C. as well and Virginia. I mean, I started in D.C. and kind of went toward Baltimore, and he allowed me into the Baltimore territory. He wasn't one of those guys that, why are you doing here? Why are you covering boxing? I was doing Boxing Spotlight at that time. And he was there. He always treated me with the utmost respect and really enjoyed, my company, and I enjoyed his company. He was a very nice man. Very, very nice man. And, there are a lot of people in the journalism side. I talked a lot about getting into the business over the years. And, I mentioned people like Gilbert Ware and Discombobulating Jones and Cleveland Burgess, who was a great matchmaker in the area. Nat Williams, who was a promoter in this area. No relation, but Nat Williams. But on the journalism side, when I talk about people like Alan Goldstein, Jack Obermeyer, who wasn't from this area, but always came down to this area and covered boxing. J.R. Jowett, another person that always came to this area. We have people like John Scheinman, who now primarily covers horse racing, but he was there a little bit before I got there. And we started around the same time. He had a couple months on me. A guy that did what I do, but he did it on the print side primarily, well before the internet and all, is a guy who's now one of the better matchmakers in the world. And that's Eric Botcher. He was boxing along the Beltway before I came along in that regard. I was doing primarily TV until the late 90s, until I started writing for Fight News. And he was, they were all first-class people, always treated me well. And I'm hoping that I've been able to do a lot for this new generation, this internet generation who's around. And I'm always trying, and, from the day I started doing this, folks, I never wanted to be selfish with the territory. I've always had the mindset that the more press on this area, the better. And anything I could do to help get that press expanded, I was going to do. So any other journalist that came into the area who wanted to cover boxing, it was all right with me. I didn't look on it as someone, honing into my territory. I never took it as something with jealousy. I'm never jealous. The more the merrier. That was my whole creed. And that was Alan Goldstein. The more the merrier. Because, he was doing things. He paved the way for guys like Lem Satterfield for many years. Lem sort of took over once Alan Goldstein retired, until Lem, and I guess I can tell this story now, Lem stopped writing boxing for the Baltimore Sun primarily because they got a sports editor there. And I think there was a bout where Bernard Hopkins was scheduled to fight. There might have been one here. No, it wasn't one here, but it was about that Bernard Hopkins scheduled to fight. It was a big time bout. And the sports editor didn't know who Bernard Hopkins was. And that's when Lem Satterfield knew that it was time for him to quit as far as boxing writing for the Baltimore Sun. But when Alan Goldstein was there, boxing was a lot bigger on a national scale. And of course, we had Sugar Ray Leonard here in the area as well. And Muhammad Ali had fought here in 1977. That was the very first boxing card I ever went to. When he fought Alfredo Evangelista. He fought a year before then against Jimmy Young. A lot of people thought that Jimmy Young won that bout to this very day. But the second time Ali fought in the Beltway area, both at the Capitol Center, the old Capitol Center. And the second time was the first bout I ever went to. And that was, again, Ali and Alfredo Evangelista. But he knew the best. He knew everybody from Ali to Leonard to De La Hoya to Tyson, all of them. And he was first class all the way. And we're going to miss him. They're going to have private services, but it's going to be a memorial gathering at his home sometime in April. So I'll write a full obituary for Mr. Goldstein later on tomorrow or the next day. But I wanted to get that thought out because he was a great guy. He really, truly was. And, one of the people that helped me get going especially in the Baltimore territory. He helped me get going. And I'll always be appreciative of Alan Goldstein. Great man. So, condolences to the family. He and his wife were married more than 50 years, and just a great person, no question about it. So, our best wishes and prayers to the family of Alan Goldstein. Great man. All right, that'll do it here for another edition of Boxing on Beltway News and Notes. Remember, Saturday, March 5th, we'll be at the D.C. Army in Washington, D.C. Luis Ortiz going up against our very own Tony the Tiger Thompson, and a whole lot more right here in Washington, D.C. It continues to be a big month for the Beltway. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams, reminding you as always, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Take care.